Welcome to Life and Times of Cotto. I am your host, Jay Cotto. And in today's segment, I do want to discuss how I personally feel that people need each other. You're always going to have this one person that kind of says, oh, well, I don't need anybody. I just do whatever I do. And I do it on my own. I don't fucking need nobody. As much as you may find people like that, I don't think that that's a very real thing. People need people. You need personal interactions. You need someone in your life to know that you care. You need someone in your life that makes you feel whole. And I'm not really saying that you need someone to make you feel whole, but you do need someone that's going to support you. You do need a team. You need someone that's going to be by your side. A lonely life is not life. And yeah, a lot of people can say that I'm speaking from a married standpoint because I'm happily married for 20 years. And it's easy for me to say. And that could be. But I do know what being lonely is. I have been lonely. And yes, I have something to compare it to, which is why I'm saying what I'm saying. I'm grateful to have someone to spend the rest of my life with. It's invaluable to be with someone that believes in everything you say, everything you do, and just stands by you through thick and thin, even when you're wrong. And I say that because, even at work, I saw an interaction with two people, and the gentleman came in to do whatever it is that he came to do, and then one of my reps basically started speaking to the gentleman, and he just wanted to do something simple. It wasn't anything out of the ordinary. And as they started speaking, the engagement between the two, and it wasn't flirting, it wasn't anything like that before your brain starts going left, right? It wasn't any of that. The engagement in the conversation started to become more and more intense. And when I say intense, I don't mean intense that way. I mean intense as they're really enjoying each other's presence. They're really enjoying each other's space. And maybe that guy needed someone to speak to, or maybe that girl needed someone to speak to. The point of it was that they found each other at that very moment. Maybe both of them needed something, but they found each other at that very moment, and they were vibing off of each other and giving each other something that they needed, and it was coming from somewhere else, from someone else. And this is why I say, everybody needs somebody. Everybody needs someone to be their cheerleader. Because when you have it, it's huge, man. It's huge. Because again, I've been in those places where it's not not having anyone sucks, right? And again, there's examples that I want to make. And one of them is I can't imagine being without my wife. I can't imagine, God forbid something happens and she's no longer here for me to spend time with. Just the mere thought of that destroys my world, destroys my inner being. Like I legitimately have spent so much time building and being with her that she is 50% of me, right? And why I believe that's true, and I hate to bring this up, but it is relevant to this conversation to some degree. My grandparents on my dad's side, they they passed, and the reason why this is relevant is my grandmother had passed before my grandfather, and they were married for a very, very long time, a very long time. And my grandfather was very lonely after, and he didn't last much longer after that. And that was a clear indication of being part of someone, and being part of someone that's meaningful to you, and why that's important, why people need people. There was a love there that's huge. And I look at that and I think about my marriage, and I feel the same way about my marriage. I wouldn't be able to although I have children, and I would have to, but the feeling is that I wouldn't be able to move on, or be the same person without her. And that's kind of what I mean about this conversation. People need people. Being being part of someone's life is huge. And even in those instances where I speak to people and just give them, that one positive interaction changes their world. That is the best feeling. You don't have to know it. You don't have to know it. You don't have to see how it impacts their world. But you do know that you changed them at that moment because they're very grateful and they're happy about that interaction that you guys had. So people need people, man. And people need to have others to listen to them, even if it's for 5 seconds. Even if it's to let something off their chest. Anyway, that's all I got. That's all I wanted to say on this one. It's a little bit on the shorter side. I do, again, that's something that I was thinking about on that interaction, and just the thought about my wife. But anyway, that's all I got. Do what you do it well, do it the best way you know how. Jay Cotto, I am out. Peace.